Hello, and thanks for checking out yourlocalnote.com. My name is Mike Stringer, joined by RJ McKay, and it's time again for another YLN Vidcast. And this week, we welcome back one of our friends, Revolution I Love You. We had them in a couple of years ago, I guess, and now they're back with a brand new EP called The Atlantic Ocean. You're going to hear songs from that tonight. So let me just remind you real quick to download our free iPhone and Android app so you can listen to YLN Radio 24/7, playing only music from the Philadelphia area. You can download it from your phone, your mobile app, and listen to it anywhere you go. Also, stay up to date. We do our video updates each week. We have a new vidcast every week, and of course, our concert calendar is updated daily. All right, so let's go to this interview here with Revolution I Love You. We'll start with the title track off their brand new EP. It's called The Atlantic Ocean, and they are Revolution I Love You on yourlocalnote.com. That is the Atlantic Ocean. They are Revolution, I Love You, and you're listening to yourlocalnote.com. We have Rob back in the studio with us. Rob, thanks for coming in.
Hey, man.
Welcome back. It's been a couple years since we talked to you.
It's been a while.
Yeah. Where's Jay at? Your other half?
Jay is he's very unfortunately at work right now.
Yes, that'll happen.
Who can get him out of it?
It's too bad. But great job with the EP.
Thank you.
Sounds really good. How long have you been working on this EP?
On this in particular since, say, really working on this EP since last January.
Okay. So it's been a long work in progress.
Everything's a long work in progress for us. Yeah, we always just kind of start on little bits and pieces of everything and save them for long periods of time until the other bits and pieces seem to come together. And
now, when did you? Because if you go to your, I believe it's your website, you talk about the EP, or maybe it was on SoundCloud or Bandcamp, whichever one it was. But I was reading, you guys talked about having a specific sound for these songs. Yeah. When did you determine that this is the direction you wanted to go with these songs?
After we'd been messing around with them for a couple of months, probably last spring, we really decided that was the direction to go. But from the very beginning, when we started writing the Atlantic Ocean, that particular track, the whole verse guitar part really came from us joking about really wanting to do something that sounded a little bit like Night Moves.
Okay.
Bob Seger.
Okay.
And we're like, man, like, how are we ever going to do something that would sound like that? Like all these drum machines and synthesizers. How are we going to do something that sounds like Bob Seger or Bruce Springsteen? That doesn't make any sense.
Just imagine you guys just sitting in a room and it happens to come on and you're like, wow,
I love this song.
That's what we need to do.
Yeah. And it's just like, instead of it being like, well, that would be a terrible idea because that sounds impossible, we're like, challenge accepted.
Right.
You know?
Excellent. So the theme of the Atlantic Ocean, why that theme? It's very nostalgic, especially the video you guys made for it. How did you come up with all of that?
Well, the song itself is very much, pretty directly about nostalgia. Like, it's very much about how it's, think about when two people are first really getting to know each other and getting close to each other. The things from your past that play a really important part in your life, what the other person thinks of those can really get in the way or really kind of help things along and help you get closer. And sometimes, the things are incredibly important to you from, your childhood or whatever, terrify someone else.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Like they hate the beach or can never go into the water. Afraid of sharks or something like that.
Yeah, exactly. Like that whole narrative is just about about a girl not just absolutely being terrified of the ocean. And like for me, the ocean is a huge part of my childhood. Like that whole first verse is very literal, like the black sand bit and all that. There's a island right off of Long Island, New York, called Fire Island. And I guess there was a fire there a while ago because like there's all this charred, ashy looking sand on the surface of it. I guess like all the burned beach grass and stuff. And you couldn't drive out there. There was no road. There was no bridge. Like you had to take a boat out there and stuff.
Yeah.
I used to go out there with my granddad.
Yeah, I went out there too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
it's great. I mean, it's really nice.
It's an interesting place. They some of it gets, I guess, bad mouthed or a bad reputation, but overall,
does it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Some of it does.
What's the bad reputation?
Well, Cherry Grove was a place that people were like, okay, we're not going to go there. Type of stuff. But then there are other places where it was just crazy that people wouldn't go. They're just all different things that were going. And then what people don't realize is Robert Moses State Park is part of Fire Island, and that was destroyed with Superstorm Sandy. It's nowhere near what it used to be.
Oh man, I haven't been out there for a while. Granddad got rid of the boat. no way to get there.
No way to get there. Yeah, I mean, I grew up on Long Island, so I mean, I hung out at Robert Moses State Park, and then you'd walk your way down. They had the new beaches there, so you'd walk your way down as a high school kid.
Yeah.
And of course, you're disappointed because the people who are taking their clothes off, you're like, no, really, put your clothes back on. Seriously, they're not hot models,
Right, yeah.
It's fat old people, and you're like, really, you really want to stop that? So that was always fun, but then you went from high school going there, and then during the summer, my friends who worked in the city would then get a beach house for the summer, and they would go out there every weekend, and it was just, you get there, like you said, by boat.
Yeah, man. I mean, when I was a kid, like that was the beach I would go to, and like that was the bulk of my time spent at the beach. Mm-hmm. And it didn't occur to me that most people didn't arrive at the beach by boat. It always seemed really strange to me when people talk about like driving down to the beach. Be like, oh yeah, hey, you can drive to the beach.
Right.
Yeah, that's a thing people do. Okay.
Yeah.
I was 8. What do I know?
From my perspective, anyways, of driving to the beach, then going to where are you going to a boat that's not a beach already? Have a dock. And
well, like my grandparents live on a little tiny creek.
Okay.
And they have the
so you
boat
go from
in
a
there.
creek into the ocean.
Yeah, and so I mean it's like right in their backyard. They live in this tiny little house right next to the water. Like it's really cool, but
nice. So now does Jason share the affinity for the beach?
No,
like
man. He for years
he's the other person on the other side.
No, for years he would get like nauseous at the smell of the ocean.
Like
yeah,
water.
like we would never like hang out down there when we would play the Delaware Music Fest all the time in Dewey Beach, and we'd play and just leave. And I'd be like, hey man, you guys want to like hang out?
Right.
And Jay'd be like, no, we should go somewhere else away from the water.
I could not comprehend that.
Yeah. No, I could never understand.
A beach growing up. I mean, and then I lived on Cape Cod 2 separate times.
Oh, shit.
It's something that I can't see being far. I mean, this is about the farthest I want to be from the ocean.
Yeah.
In the Philadelphia area.
The thought of being in the Midwest or something.
Yeah, and
freaks me out a little bit.
And my wife mentioned that. My wife grew up in the Midwest, and she then eventually moved to Boston, and now she doesn't want to be far from the ocean either. Yeah. She loves the ocean. So it's there's something about going down to the beach and just walking around, no matter what time of year. During the winter, I love walking along the beach in the winter. There's something about the ocean, the salt air, and stuff like that. I just feel bad for Jay now.
Yeah, no, I don't know. It always fascinated me, and partially because my dad sailed for a year, in college and stuff. And he was a sailor on a ship for a year, and always had he had a tin can full of foreign coins, really weird ones from Vietnam and stuff, square pieces with holes punched out in the middle and stuff, things I'd never seen before, and I just thought it was the coolest thing. Yeah. I don't know. So
did it take any convincing then to create this whole theme of the Atlantic Ocean with Jason?
Oh no, he loved the lyrics, so he rolled with it.
Great.
He wasn't offended by it or anything,
I will never do something like that.
No, I think he got over it a little bit.
He gets sick just playing the song.
Older.
No, that's good.
Now there's 3 songs here. Are these 3 songs that you said the EP is gonna be 3 songs, and these are the songs it's gonna be, or did you write a bunch and then kind of pick and choose which songs you were gonna select?
We always have a whole lot of rough outlines of things lying around, and we sort of just went through and okay, these 3 would all work well in this style that we decided we wanted to go for. So then we take those 3 and then we flesh them out and finish them. So it's the same thing we do with everything else.
Okay. Okay. Now does that mean you have songs already being built currently?
Oh God, yeah. We've just, I don't know, we have 20 or 30 gigs worth of Pro Tools files.
Wow.
On a hard drive, just different programmed beats and different ideas recorded. Some of them are pretty much finished tracks. Some of them have full lyrics. We just haven't released them yet on anything, you know.
Right. All right, let's go to the second song. It's called My Time Is Not My Own. Just explain that song a little bit before we hear it.
Oh, it's just about, I worked in retail for years. I dropped out of college and then worked
retail?
No, not to work retail. I dropped out of college to do the music thing, but, you know, had to do something to make money in the meantime. And it was just always this nightmare, like being, you know, like torn between, you know, what you have to do.
Right.
And what you feel this like deep compulsion to do, to like make music. And like the second verse came from, I went to a training meeting, and like one of the HR people, I overheard him saying that one of the things he always looks for in hiring a new person for the job is, do they need the job? Because if they don't need the job, he doesn't really want them, because they're not going to be committed. He wants a guy with 4 kids and a wife and a house and a car payment who, if he quit, he'd be fucked.
Wow.
And that's who he wants to hire. And it just made me nauseous. I was like, this is what I got myself into. This is awful. This is absolutely awful. And yeah.
So then you got to ask him, did you think I like live and die for this job?
Well, of course they think you do. You know, they assume you do.
Right. Okay, well, here's the second song off the new EP from Revolution I Love You. The EP is called The Atlantic Ocean, and this song is called My Time Is Not My Own, here on yourlocalnote.com.
song is called My Time Is Not My Own. It's from the EP, The Atlantic Ocean. Hanging out with Rob from Revolution, I Love You. Rob, you were talking about how we were touching on the fact that you have a whole bunch of songs that you guys are constantly working on. What is the thought process of doing an EP instead of a full album?
Because what we've been doing for a while, and the plan, and what we plan on continuing to do for a little while, is make EPs with very specific stylistic concepts.
Okay.
Like this one, this very specific idea of trying to make something like classic rock using the the tools of electronica and stuff like that on top of the guitars and all that. We also have a good, I think, 6 or 7 songs worth of basically folk songs with like hip hop beats and like cut up audio, like manipulated audio and like weird sounding stuff all mixed in. Yeah. And that's a whole very specific idea. It's just a matter of, when is the right time to do everything. We might actually release an LP sometime in the next year, depending on how things are going. I mean, things are coming along really quickly with the next one, so it's good. And
would the album then have to be thematic, like you've been doing?
I mean, yeah, I'm a big believer in that. Okay, I like to think of albums as a unit.
And telling a story?
Not necessarily telling a story, but
creating
something
an image
that's meaningful in and of itself.
Okay.
Like as a whole, not just a collection of songs, a couple of singles and then a bunch of crap to fill it out, Which I mean, you can't do it. You can't really do that anymore, what I mean?
Yeah. Right.
But it's a whole different thing. If you're going to make a full-length record, it may as well be something worth listening to in its entirety.
Well, because you're selling each song now individually, where before you couldn't buy it individually. You were stuck with the CD, and that was it. And believe me, I've got plenty of CDs where it's the one song that I thought was great, and then the rest of the album, you're like, really?
It's not even the first track, you know?
Yeah.
You got to dig around for it.
Okay. In putting this EP together, did you guys produce it yourself?
Yeah.
Everything is done yourself? Do you have your own studio?
Yeah. We've been recording ourselves since, I don't know, probably about 10 years now. Like, since before we were doing this particular act.
So it makes it easier for you then to take your time.
Exactly.
Come up with something that you want to do and experiment.
Yeah.
And that, I guess, then leaves you with all the different other songs that you start to work with and then can put aside because you got the time to start playing with it.
Exactly. Yeah. It's not like we're just putting together demos and more demos and then eventually having to be like, okay, we're going to now make real recordings.
Right.
What we started to do is really try to make sure that when we lay down rough takes that we actually... use the mic we would actually use to record and, set up the room properly, doesn't sound, whatever. There's just a couple quick things, because a lot of times those first takes, not just the first take trying to record it, but first takes as you're writing the part, there's just really, really cool things that happen there. Yeah. And like the solo on the next song on Shotgun, that was... me and Jay just sat there going back and forth, and we just played a couple of different things. And we're just like, that's awesome. All right, we're going to keep that. That's really cool. And it wasn't even... Yeah, no, go ahead.
No.
You're about to say something.
No, go ahead.
I was just going to say, it wasn't like written ahead of time, and then we go into the studio, and then, that first take's great. No, I mean, the first time we played it, that's what's on the record. You know what I mean?
Sometimes if you don't have your own studio, you get handcuffed because you only have so much time.
Exactly. But sometimes you need those constraints. You know what I mean? Those constraints generate a lot of creativity. Yeah. You know what I mean? So
it says on the back here, written, recorded, and produced in a variety of Philadelphia bedrooms and basements.
Yes.
Any particular rig that you had set up or location that was the strangest to record in?
No, I mean, it's always just been in our own, places. But but we used to live in Roxborough in a house that was a laundromat called Ming's Laundry.
Okay.
And the entire 4 years we lived there, people would knock on the door looking for the laundromat.
And it was Ming's?
In the middle of a take, someone you just hear knocking on the door.
Takes me back to the movie The Departed when Nicholson was meeting with the Chinese people. No ticky, no laundry.
Yeah.
I love that movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie. Good movie.
Now, is there anything you did, I'm sure there is, recording new with this EP that you either didn't want to try the last EP or that you didn't know about when you went in to record this?
Well, one thing we did that was new that we'd been wanting to try for a long time, but never really successfully pulled off, and I think we got it again, the solo on Shotgun.
Okay.
Was recording it direct in with a fuzz pedal.
Okay.
To just completely blown out, staticky, terrible, awful, nasty sounding tone, which is exactly what we wanted. You know what I mean? Like without the amplifier there to make it sound nice or anything. Right. Why would you want that?
You wanted a gritty sound.
Yeah, gritty's one way to put it. You know? No, like
I'm trying to help out, Rob.
No, I heard. There's these great documentaries on Netflix about like how they made certain great albums, whatever. And, and there's one on Nevermind, and Butch Vig actually sits there and like goes through and like solos tracks on it. You can hear it. And he was talking about how they recorded Territorial Pissings. The guitars for that, like if you remember what that sounds like, just straight into the board through a big muff pedal, and it sounds sick. So we're like, yeah, I want to do that. And we were sitting there like recording the solo, like, I really want that to sound awful. Don't you want that to sound awful? And he was like, yeah, I want that to sound awful. What, let's do that thing. Yeah, the Butch Vig thing. It'll be great.
Nice. And you're happy with the way it turned out?
Oh, yeah, it's great.
Came out great.
It's spectacularly awful.
Spectacularly awful. That's the sound you were going for.
Exactly.
So how difficult then is when you're writing a song, not only now are you have to write lyrics and you have to piece it together as far as a format of a song has to go. Then you got to figure out the sounds you want, and then you got to figure out how to make the sounds you want. How difficult is that process?
Well, generally, like I said before, sometimes the constraints are important. One of the things that makes a record sound like a whole unit is you kind of lay out specific sounds that you want to use repeatedly. Yeah. And you kind of constrain yourself to, like, particular guitar sounds that you want to come up, particular drum samples, particular synth or bass sounds, that kind of thing. And so generally going into a record, when we decide stylistically, what we want it to sound like, part of that decision is knowing, we kind of want the guitars to be like this and the synth bass to be like that
before you start putting the puzzle together.
Yeah, exactly. Like, it's kind of in the description in our heads of the style. Like, yeah, we really want it to sound like this. And when we're talking to each other about it, like, like this kind of bass and that kind of guitar. And so that just kind of happens in the first conversation. I don't know if maybe that's not how other people think about it. Maybe not, but like as we're writing, we tend to talk a lot about how we want things to sound on the record to begin with. We're very recording oriented, which is probably a bad thing in this day and age. You know what I mean? Like, people don't really pay for recorded music anymore. We should probably spend more time just like rehearsing and coming up with crazy shit to do for the live show.
So does that make it difficult to perform live, some of the songs? I mean,
it makes it interesting.
Okay. Yes, interesting, but for you as musicians, because you want to be as close to what the album or the song sounds like recorded.
Yes.
So, I mean, how difficult is that then to recreate that live, basically when it's just the two of you?
Very.
Okay.
Short answer.
And that's the challenge, though.
Yeah, exactly.
No, that's
challenge
the one.
Is the word.
Yeah, that's the one, like, most common thing people will say to us after a show is, damn, you guys look busy up there.
How now... Does it make it then difficult to play new songs to test out for the audience, for your fans? I mean, so it's a situation where
we have to rehearse them for a good while make sure that, we're getting from the guitar to the keyboard to the keyboard to the guitar.
So it's a lot of work to put together a song for a live show for you guys.
Yeah.
Are there times where you play the song and then you don't get the response you want, and then you have to throw that song away? And
No, we don't throw it away. Sometimes, you know what? We've found out sometimes performing it as it is on the record doesn't work as well in the live environment as it does on the recording.
Okay.
It just doesn't.
Okay.
And like some of our older songs, over time, like they've just, some things, obviously they're going to get better just because you play them over and over and over again. We're just better at them. Mm-hmm. But there's also actual changes we've made to the beats or to the arrangements, because we're like, why doesn't this moment hit home live, but it hits home on the record? Well, we got to do something about it, so we'll make changes.
Okay.
And so they're nothing radical, usually.
Subtle changes.
But they make a big difference in the response live.
All right, let's go to the third song here. It's Shotgun. You mentioned it earlier.
Yep.
Just take us through lyrically what it's about.
Oh, this one's about getting high in your bedroom with a girlfriend and just kind of not leaving the house. Yeah.
All right.
That's that one's about.
So it's about this past winter. Oh, no, never mind. All right.
Somebody have a good winter?
Yeah. We're here with Rob from Revolution I Love You, talking about their brand new EP called The Atlantic Ocean. And this song is called Shotgun on yourlocalnote.com.
right, that is Shotgun from Revolution I Love You from their EP, brand new EP called The Atlantic Ocean. Now, Rob, you've got a new video out.
Yes.
Been working hard on that.
Yes.
Let's talk about it.
Well, we haven't been working that hard on it.
Oh.
Dara Friedman.
Okay.
She worked very hard on it. She did a fantastic job.
A big shout out to her, huh?
Yes.
Okay. And the theme of the video?
It ties right into the song, the nostalgia. I mean, you can see that there's this stock footage of, people at the beach in like the 50s in the weird bathing suits, the weird huge bathing suits that like look like a scuba suit or something.
They'll come back.
Yeah. I really hope not.
Were these your ideas, or did Dara help you with these, form the idea for the...
It was really cool. I mean, part of the reason we decided to work with Dara was the very first conversation we had with her. We were like, okay, we have ideas for all the songs on the EP, but you go ahead and listen to them. Let us know what ideas come to mind for you, and then we'll get together about it. And we got together and we talked about it, and she had pretty much the exact same idea for the Atlantic Ocean that we were thinking to begin with. I think the stock footage of like the old, people in bathing suits stuff was her idea. But like just something that looked very nostalgic and cinematic, and like, looks kind of like an old VHS tape. Like you can see like there's moments where it looks like, remember when the tracking would mess up on a VHS?
Yes.
Yeah, like she had these really cool edits that look like that. And I don't know, like it has a real like early 90s vibe to me.
Okay.
To me, it seems like that to me. I don't know. Which was kind of the point.
Okay.
Since it ties right into the song, that was something we wanted to hammer home.
Are you going to record or, you're going to make videos for all the songs on the EP?
We are working on, we would like to.
Okay.
We would like to. We have concepts and directors lined up for them. It's just a matter of time and money and how soon we can do it. But that's the plan.
Okay.
Shotgun will be first.
Okay.
On the list after.
And when did you shoot the video for the Atlantic Ocean?
We shot that in September.
Okay.
It was cold. My girlfriend Cole very unfortunately had to run around in the water.
Right.
And it was not warm. And I love her very much for doing that for us. That was really nice. It was a long day too, which for us, everything's a long day when you do music. Like you get to find that, you go to this, if you pay for studio time, you go to the studio, it's a long day. You play a show, it's a long day. You go on tour, it's all long days. And shooting a video is no different.
And especially for Jason, I'm sure, because he's sitting there on the beach with you.
He's just like, oh God, why?
Yeah.
Get me away from the sun. No, he was fine.
He was a trooper.
Good. He was,
that's
he got
good.
through it.
That's funny.
Where can people find your music right now?
The Atlantic Ocean EP just came out on iTunes, Spotify, all the major digital, retailers, e-music, all that stuff. But you can also get it all for free on revolutioniloveyou.bandcamp.com.
All right, very cool. And any shows you got lined up?
Yeah, we will be. We're actually going back up to New Haven, Connecticut, on what is it? The 11th of April.
Nice.
And then the next day, we're going to be down in Delaware, back home, where we're actually from.
Right.
Playing Mojo, Maine, and Newark. And then after that, the next Saturday, would that be the 19th, we'll be in Lancaster for the Launch Music Conference.
Very cool.
Excellent.
Playing right in the middle, like the town square. It's going to be great.
And then in between, do you guys jump back in the studio and play around and record some more stuff? Is that the way you operate? You do a little, do some gigs, then come back and jump in the studio?
I was doing that before I went to class this morning. Yeah, I was trying to recreate the the weird THX sound at the beginning of movies. You know what I'm talking about?
I think so.
That thing. I was seeing if I could recreate that as a starting point for a weird synth part in a cover we were doing.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. So
you're if we can't If we can't find you, just look in the studio first.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And by studio, you mean living room.
Yeah.
Right.
It's good.
One
it's good
thing I
setup.
do like about this EP, the artwork included, is you have the lyrics on the back as well.
Yeah.
And so that was always a big thing when you're actually holding a CD in your hand, that you can also read the lyrics. So it's very cool that you have the lyrics right on the back.
Yeah, that was the artist's idea, George Murphy. He's like, why don't you, I need something to put on the back, you know? Why don't you just give me the lyrics? And I was like, they'll fit, you know, 3 songs. It's great. And I love that.
Excellent.
It's one of
And
my favorite parts.
the final song we're going to play is actually the bonus track
Yeah.
on this EP.
Only available if you get it on SoundCloud or Bandcamp.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Good to know.
Very good.
Just don't want anybody disappointed. They're good to get it on iTunes.
All right, and the last song that you guys are playing, then, or the bonus track, what the song is Atlantic City. That's
Yes.
the Springsteen song.
Yeah, it's
And
a
any
Springsteen
particular
cover.
reason why you decided to do the cover of that, or was it just fit in with what you guys were doing with the Atlantic Ocean EP?
I mean, obviously, I'm sure I'm not alone in this, but it's, you know, one of my absolute favorite Springsteen songs. It's you know, a general fan favorite off of Nebraska, which is a general fan favorite album to begin with, you know. But I just always thought there was something really dark. I mean, obviously something dark. It's on Nebraska. Something dark about the song, but something particularly like angsty and aggressive about it.
Okay.
Even though it's
Very slow.
fairly slow
Yeah.
and quiet. And we just thought we'd, you know, play it a little faster and louder and unleash that a bit.
Right.
I don't know. That was kind of the thought there.
Very cool. All right, let's check it out. Just want to remind you that next week we'll have a brand new vidcast, and don't forget to check out the newsletter, and it's very simple to get. Just email us at contact@yourlocalnote.com. We're streaming 24/7. We've got free apps, so all you have to do is go to the respective app stores, type in YLN, download it for free, and you can take yourlocalnote.com with you anywhere you want to go. And then, of course, we've got our weekly YLN update that Mike and I do to just fill in the cracks as far as what's going on with the music scene in the Philadelphia area. All right, Rob, once again, thank you so
Rob.
much.
Thank you, guys.
All right, it's too bad Jay wasn't here. Jay, we missed you. We'll get you next time. All right, the final song on the, this is the bonus track, Atlantic City from the Atlantic Ocean EP. Of course, you can only get that through Bandcamp and SoundCloud.
Yep.
Okay, very cool. Atlantic City by Revolution, I Love You on yourlocalnote.com.
Chicken man in Philly last night. Well, they blew up his house too. Down on the boardwalk, they're getting ready for a fight. Gonna see what them racket boys can do. Now there's trouble busting in from out of state, and the DA can't get no relief. Gonna be a rumble out on the promenade, and the gambling commission hanging on by the skin of its teeth, baby. Everything dies, maybe that's a fact. Maybe everything that dies someday comes back. But you make all the bomb, fix your hair pretty, and meet me tonight in Atlantic City. Well, I got a job trying to put my money away, but I got debts no honest man could pay. So I drew what I had from the Central Trust, and I bought us 2 tickets on that Coast City bus. So baby, everything dies, maybe that's a fact. Maybe everything that dies someday comes back. But you make all the bomb, fix your hair pretty, and meet me tonight in Atlantic City. Well, I look may have died, or love may be cold, but with you forever I'll stay. Going out west, sands turn to gold. Put in your stockings, baby, 'cause now it's getting cold. And everything dies, maybe that's a fact. Maybe everything that dies someday comes back. winners and losers, and don't